Welcome to Angular Tutorial and Interview Question Series 1. This video series is aimed at beginner to advanced level Angular learners and those who are preparing for an Angular interview. In this series, we will explain all questions as a tutorial. After watching this video series, you will be able to create your Angular application and can attend an Angular interview confidently. In the first series, we are going to cover the following questions. What is Angular? What is open source? What is a framework? What is TypeScript? What are dynamic web pages? What is a single-page application? Why were client-side frameworks like Angular introduced? What are the advantages of using Angular? What are the disadvantages of Angular? How to create a new Angular project? How do you check the current node version? How do you check the current global Angular CLI version? How does an Angular application work?
First, we are going to explain what is Angular. Angular is a popular open-source web application framework developed and maintained by Google and a community of developers. It is written in TypeScript and is designed to simplify the process of building dynamic, single-page web applications, SPAs. Angular provides a comprehensive set of tools and libraries for various tasks. Here you can find some keywords such as open source, framework, TypeScript, dynamic, and single-page web applications, SPAs. We will explain these terms in the next questions and answers. What is open source? Open source software is computer software that is released under a license in which the copyright holder grants users the rights to use, study, change, and distribute the software and its source code to anyone and for any purpose. Angular is an open source, so Google grant users to use, study, and change code. What is a framework? In computer programming, a software framework is an abstraction in which software, providing generic functionality, can be selectively changed by additional user-written code, thus providing application-specific software. A framework is like a structure that provides a base for the application development process. With the help of a framework, you can avoid writing everything from scratch. Frameworks provide a set of tools and elements that help in the speedy development process. It acts like a template that can be used and even modified to meet the project requirements. Next, we can look at what is TypeScript. TypeScript is a free and open-source high-level programming language developed by Microsoft that adds static typing with optional type annotations to JavaScript. It is designed for the development of large applications and transpile to JavaScript. TypeScript is a strongly typed, object-oriented, compiled programming language that builds on JavaScript. It is a superset of the JavaScript language, designed to give you better tooling at any scale. Here are the same variables declared and initialized in TypeScript and JavaScript. Both have age and name. In the case of TypeScript, we can't change the name to 10. So TypeScripts help to avoid accidental typing mistakes when we consider large applications. What are dynamic web pages? Dynamic websites are those websites that change the content or layout with every request to the web server. These websites have the capability of producing different content for different visitors from the same source code file. In the static web page, the content and layout of a web page are fixed and can't be used to fetch data from databases. When we consider dynamic web pages, the content and layout may change during runtime, and databases are used to generate dynamic content through queries. Static web pages directly run on the browser and do not require any server-side application program. When we consider dynamic web pages, run on the server-side application programs and display the results. What is a single-page application? A single-page application is a web application or website that interacts with the user by dynamically rewriting the current web page with new data from the web server, instead of the default method of a web browser loading entire new pages. In a single-page application, instead of loading the whole page, the particular area inside the web page only will be rendered. In this website, image when clicking settings from the menu. Only the red highlighted area will be rendered. Now we covered all keywords related to the first question, what is Angular? We know there are a lot of front-end technologies were available before Angular. Then why were client-side frameworks like Angular introduced? Back in the day, Web developers use vanilla.js and jQuery to develop dynamic websites, but as the logic of one's website grew, the code became more and more tedious to maintain. For applications that use complex logic, developers had to put in extra effort to maintain the separation of concerns for the app. Also, jQuery did not provide facilities for data handling across views. To tackle the above problems, client-side frameworks like Angular came into the picture, which made life easier for the developers by handling the separation of concerns and dividing code into smaller bits of information, in the case of Angular called components. Next, we can look, what are the advantages of using Angular? The first advantage is easy to develop web applications. Angular makes it easy to develop by combining dependency injection, declarative templates, end-to-end tooling, and integrated best practices. The second advantage is the large community and ecosystem. Angular is actively maintained and has a large community and ecosystem. You can find lots of resources, tutorials, and support online. Another important advantage is two-way data binding. Two-way data binding is a powerful feature of Angular that allows you to synchronize data between the model and the view. The next advantage is improved performance. Angular provides improved performance by reducing the number of DOM manipulations. The next advantage is reusable code. Angular allows you to write reusable code that can be used across multiple projects. The final advantage is the use of TypeScript's data types. Angular is written in TypeScript, a superset of JavaScript. TypeScript provides better type checking and helps catch errors at compile time. Next, what are the disadvantages of Angular? The first disadvantage is the steep learning curve. Angular has a steep learning curve, especially for beginners. Its complex architecture and extensive features may be overwhelming for developers who are new to web development or who are accustomed to simpler frameworks. The second one is verbosity. Angular code can be verbose compared to some other frameworks. This verbosity can make the codebase larger and potentially harder to read and maintain. The next one is performance overhead. Angular applications may have a higher initial loading time compared to some lighter frameworks. The framework itself is relatively large, and this can affect the application's performance, particularly on slower networks or less powerful devices. The next one is heavyweight. Angular is considered a full-fledged framework, which means it comes with a lot of built-in features and functionalities. While this is an advantage in some cases, it can be a disadvantage if your project requires only a lightweight solution. In such cases, a micro-framework like Vue.js or a library like React might be more suitable. The next one is flexibility versus opinionated structure. While Angular provides a well-defined structure for building applications, some developers might find it too opinionated. This can limit flexibility and make it harder to deviate from the recommended practices. The last one is documentation gaps. Although Angular has extensive documentation, there may be situations where the documentation is not clear or lacks examples for specific use cases. This can be a challenge for developers trying to troubleshoot issues or implement certain features.
How to create a new Angular project. There are some prerequisites to creating a new Angular project. First one is Node.js and NPM. Make sure you have Node.js and NPM, Node Package Manager, installed on your machine. You can download them from https://nodejs.org. Node.js is a runtime environment that allows you to run JavaScript code outside of a web browser. In the context of Angular development, Node.js is not required for the Angular framework itself, but it is commonly used for several important purposes during the development process. It provides tools, a package manager, and a runtime environment that makes it easier to set up, develop, and deploy Angular projects efficiently. NPM, Node Package Manager, is a package manager for JavaScript that is widely used in the Node.js ecosystem. It simplifies the management of dependencies, facilitates package installation, supports version control, provides a scripting mechanism, and connects Angular projects with the broader JavaScript ecosystem. It streamlines the development process and helps maintain a clean and consistent project structure. The next one is Angular CLI. To install the Angular CLI globally by running the following command in your terminal or command prompt. npm install g at angular/cli. Angular CLI, command line interface, is a powerful tool provided by the Angular team to streamline the development process of Angular applications. It offers a set of commands and utilities that make it easier to create, build, test, and deploy Angular projects. To create a new Angular application, open your terminal or command prompt where you want to create the new Angular project. Use the new command followed by the name of your project to create a new Angular project. For example, ng new myAngular app. The CLI will prompt you with some configuration options. You can choose the defaults or customize them based on your preferences. Our first Angular application is created successfully. To change into the newly created project directory, cd myAngular app. Use the following command to build and serve the application locally. ng serve. By default, the application will be available at http://localhost 4200/. Open your web browser and navigate to the provided URL, http://localhost 4200/. You should see the default Angular application. How do you check the current Node version? To check your version of Node.js, open Terminal, or another CLI of your choice, and type the command node v, press Enter. The returning line will display the Node.js version currently installed. Here you can find Node version is 20.10.0. Next, how do you check the current global Angular CLI version? To check your version of Angular CLI, open Terminal, or another CLI of your choice, and type the commanding version. Press Enter. Here you can find the Angular CLI version is 17.0.9. How does an Angular application work? We can open and edit Angular applications in Visual Studio Code or any other editors. Here I am using Visual Studio Code. You can start developing your Angular application by modifying files in the src directory. The CLI will automatically reload the application whenever you make changes. Here you can see our sample application. Every Angular app consists of a file named angular.json. This file will contain all the configurations of the app. While building the app, the builder looks at this file to find the entry point of the application. Inside the build section, the main property of the options object defines the entry point of the application, which in this case is main.ts. The main.ts file creates a browser environment for the application to run, and, along with this, it also calls a function called bootstrap module, which bootstraps the application. Here you can main.ts file inside the src folder. In this line of code, app module is getting bootstrapped. The app module is declared in the app module.ts file. This module contains declarations of all the components. This component is defined in app component.ts file. This file interacts with the web page and serves data to it. We can find app component.ts file inside the app folder. Each component is declared with three properties. The first one is the selector. It is used for accessing the component. Next one is template URL, which contains the HTML of the component. The last one is styles URL, which contains component-specific style sheets. After this, Angular calls the index.html file. This file consequently calls the root component, that is app root. The root component is defined in app component.ts. This is how every Angular application works. If you are new to Angular, then some keywords like component are not familiar to you. We will cover all related Angular in the coming episodes. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like, comment, and share our videos to support us.